This is Conspiracies Unpacked. My name is Danny Clayton, and at the time of recording this, to the best of my knowledge, Paul McCartney from the Beatles is still alive. But if you believe the Paul is dead theory, then the real Paul McCartney died in 1966 when he crashed his car. But then he was replaced by a gentleman by the name of Billy Shears so that the band can continue to perform and make money. Now I'm going to get a little help from a friend here, Dr. Richard Haynes, to break down the theory that the real Paul McCartney is dead. Dr. Richard Haynes, why do you think this theory popped up? Where were the origins of this particular conspiracy?
I think the symbolism that began to appear on all the record labels that they made, the backmasking messages that were supposedly hidden in some of the tracks, the photographic clues, and also some of the sightings. You know, I think there was so much that leads us to believe that perhaps he died.
Yes. Now, you did mention backmasking. This is a method of hiding messages into a body of music by recording it backwards. So when it's played forwards, there is an audible message. And one of them famously says, Paul is dead, man. Miss him, miss him, miss him. Now, that's pretty clear. Do we think that the Beatles were maybe accidentally leaving messages to let everyone know that the real Paul is dead?
I think it was intentional. I mean, their producer, George Martin, was an absolute master of techniques and new techniques like that. So I don't think that was accidental at all. I think they were deliberately playing with those ideas, and that's quite deliberate.
Okay, and you did mention some of the hidden messages, the symbols on their album covers. What kind of symbols are we talking about here? How direct are they, or are they quite vague?
Well, you know, you look at Sgt. Pepper's, which is extraordinary because all the Beatles are impersonating other people. And on the album, they're quite clearly suggesting that Ringo is Billy Shears. But if you look closely at the images, you see things like Paul he's wearing a different kind of costume, and he's got a badge, OPD, which is, to many conspiracy theorists, it's officially pronounced dead. But you can go to the Let It Be album cover, where Paul is looking out straight at the audience from a red background, where the others are looking to the side. Or more specifically, you can go to the Abbey Road album cover, where they all seem to be part of a funeral procession, and Paul is the only one with bare feet, cigarette pointing down, which would indicate that he is dead.
Okay. Now, would there be a reason to cover up the fact that Paul had died? Would there be a strong enough reason to make sure that this wasn't public knowledge?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Think of the money that would be lost if the Beatles just stopped because one of their members had died. No, absolutely. You'd want to cover that up.
And not only that, to prevent mass hysteria as well. But what about this Billy Shears guy? I mean, surely you can't just find a Paul lookalike at the drop of a hat to cover up a death immediately. I mean, where do you even find someone that quickly?
Well, actually, Brian Epstein was on the lookout for doubles, just in case he needed one at any time. But William Shears had won a lookalike competition, I believe in Canada. He was Canadian, although the results of the competition were never announced.
Now, I really do need to throw the brakes on here for a second, because you said that their manager was already researching doubles. Why would he be doing that?
Yeah, good question. Just to substitute for photo shoots or any time they couldn't get there, and it's normal practice.
This isn't just any kind of fame. This is Beatlemania levels of fame. Is it possible? How plausible is it that you could hide the death of the world's most famous Liverpudlian?
If you look at it that way, and you look at the sheer talent of Paul McCartney, not just the accent, but the sense of humor, the looks, everything about his personal life and his sheer talent, you would have to say, no way.
All right. So when we're taking a look at the conspiracy that Paul is dead, how plausible is it? Not very plausible. I think we should just all agree to let it be. This is Conspiracies Unpacked.